Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my seminar for ITC571 Emerging Technologies. My name's David Marshall, and tonight I'll be presenting application of virtual reality technology for home and recreational use. So, to begin with, we're going to have a look at the current state of the home head-mounted display market, or the VR goggles that you wear over your face. We have been seeing a number of these come onto the market since about 2012 was the beginning of the Kickstarter for the Oculus Rift, which was the machine that really got the current trend of HMD started, and it came out in its first iteration as Development Kit 1 in 2013, which was a rather basic low resolution unit, and then they progressed to the Development Kit 2 and finally to the consumer version in 2016, which has just only been out for a few months now. We also have the Samsung Gear VR, which is an entry-level HMD that's designed for use with mobile phones, specifically Samsung's. And another headset that's very low cost, in fact it's a piece of cardboard with two little lenses attached to it, is called Google Cardboard, and again that's designed to work with Android phones. Now the main competitor to the Oculus Rift is the HTC Vive, and it has just come out. It's only been out since about October, and its major selling point is that it supports room scale, which means you are supposed to stand up and move around while you're using it, and it has two cameras that it comes with, which track the movement of your head and your body as you're playing the games. And we're also seeing now the Sony PlayStation VR, which is an HMD designed specifically for use with the PlayStation 4 home console. It's a little less technologically advanced than the Vive and the Rift, mostly because the hardware that runs it is not as powerful. Which is a good segue into current barriers to entry. One of the barriers to entry is the fact that you need a reasonably fast PC or indeed a PlayStation 4 to be able to cope with the level of graphics that you need for a satisfying VR experience. And there are in fact very sound physiological reasons for this, which I'll get into on the next slide. The other main barrier to entry for a long time has been price. When the very first virtual reality systems came out in the early 90s, the virtuality arcade cabinets, they were worth about $70,000 US dollars each. And they're not exactly cheap nowadays. The Vive will set you back $13.99 if you go out and buy it today. And the Oculus Rift isn't sold in shops in Australia. You've got to mail order it, and that's US $650 plus I think about $150 postage on top of that. And another very important barrier to entry is simulator sickness, which is the sort of motion sickness-like symptoms that you get that some people experience when they play VR. And indeed, most of the research literature on the subject of virtual reality that I located during the subject revolves around simulator sickness. So in terms of the literature review, I found an article from Menzies which stated that the Rift caused worse postural stability, that is, people tended to move around more when they were using it, than the sort of the lower end systems like the Gear VR. And that's because the Rift has a greater field of view, which means you can see more out of the corner of each eye. And Smart et al. Have correlated postural instability with increased symptoms of simulator sickness. Now, we also have an article by Merry et al. Which compared two original Xbox games. One was Halo, and I think one was a party game called Whacked. And the symptoms were worse when the participants played these games standing up as opposed to when they were sitting down. And that's very important when you take into account that the Vive is a room scale device and is designed to be played standing up. And finally, Ruddle correlates increasing symptoms of circulatory sickness with long plane duration, the amount of head motion, and the complexity of the visual field. So this is a bit daunting when you consider that the aim of current generation virtual reality technology is to provide a very dense visual field and a very wide field of view. So what can we do to alleviate these symptoms? Well, the manufacturers are currently concentrating on 3 areas, one of which is improved head tracking. This is the cameras that I was talking about with the Viva, so they monitor your head movement. And the idea is you want to try and correlate the movement of the head with the movement of the picture that the eye sees through the goggles. And the closer they are to matching up, it's been found the less the symptoms of sickness are. And also, another important factor is refresh rate. A normal computer monitor will refresh at 60 frames a second, 60 hertz. Virtual reality headsets in the current gen refresh at 90 hertz. And again, that's to make sure that the image is as smooth as possible. There's no juddering, there's no flickering, and it's as close to what the eye would see in reality as can possibly be made to occur. And finally, it's important to take breaks when you're playing with an HMD. Even the very ancient Virtual Boy, which was one of the very, very first experiments with VR, it made you pause the game every 15 minutes and told you to take the headset off. So that's the end of my seminar. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you'd like any more information, you can come along and have a look at my blog, which is at thinkspace.csu.edu.au/dmarshall ITC571. Thanks for watching.